Thank you, friends. Shabbat Shalom. Vzot, haberacha, and Bereshit. And this is the blessing. And in the beginning, we've reached the end of the Torah, my friends. And those who've listened patiently to me week after week have now read the 5 books of Moses. For some, it may have been the first time in many years they've read the whole Torah. And for others, it may be the first time ever. Thank you for joining me. We are fresh in a new year. And this week we both end and begin the Torah to demonstrate that it, like God, has no end and no beginning. Things we talked about before may not be the things we talk about again as we continue the cycle. Always picking new and different things to address because it is a living, organic teaching that we can continue to learn from and apply in our lives. The Torah ends with Moses' blessing and his death. And his blessing is a blessing to the tribes and serves as a parallel to Jacob's blessing of his sons in Genesis 49. And his final words to the people are, "Happy are you, Israel, a people saved by God." Friends, remember, Israel isn't a place, it's a name. And here, a people. It was the name given to Jacob after his dream of the ladder going to heaven when he awoke and wrestled with an angel through the night. And it means wrestles with God. And who of us doesn't wrestle with God during our lifetimes? And so remember, Moses' final words are to all of us, the people who wrestle with God are the people saved by God. He ascends Mount Nebo and God points out the land that was promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And so the Torah concludes not as a history, but as a promise of the future. The future is still to be told. The legacy to the patriarchs is now beginning. And we continue to write that history every day. Moses dies, God buries him, and no one knows his burial place to this day. As Ringo sang at the end of the Beatles' Double White album, now it's time to say good night. Good night, sleep tight. Now the sun turns out his light. Good night, sleep tight. Dream sweet dreams for me. Dream sweet dreams for you. Moses occupied a unique place in the Bible. He lived his life in a sacred space between God and man. When he spoke to God, he represented the people. And when he spoke to the people, he represented God. And just as the Torah begins in controversy, it ends in controversy. And with a strong hand and all the great fear that Moses did before the eyes of Israel. And for the first time, the fear and strong hand are ascribed to Moses, who had kept saying it was never him, but God who had done all the things. And we are left with the question, what was of God and what was of Moses? Friends, we are used to studying the Torah and the Bible in small weekly sections. And when our rabbis and spiritual leaders sermonize, it's from only a part of that part. And so we may lose sight of the whole and of the ancient ritual of continuity, of beginning again immediately upon its conclusion. If you read Rashi's comments, you noticed he never lost sight of the whole while commenting on its parts. He taught us how to read and question. And we're not here to parrot him, but to carry on from him and question and learn more. The Tanakh, the Torah, the prophets, and the writings is a whole made up of parts. And in beginning again, we remind ourselves that we don't just pick a section and comment. There is an order to things. Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim va'et haaretz. In the beginning of God's creating the skies and the earth. Thus begins the most read book in history. And the first words of the first parsha of the Torah have not been without their own controversy. To begin, Elohim, God, is actually plural, used in 2 fascinating parts of this parsha and never used that way again. And it appears in the 2 different creation stories that are presented. The first, in Genesis 1:1 to 2:3, is the cosmic story of creation, from above to below. While the second, in Genesis 2:4 to 2:25, is a more down-to-earth presentation, from below to above. And the Torah does not begin with man or the Exodus. It begins with creation of skies and earth, because God's connection is to the universe, not just man. And the connection is to all the families of the earth. And when the tale begins, it is from darkness and chaos. Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. Creation here, friends, isn't about something from nothing. It's about separation. When you read the creation story, several things stand out. The Torah is not reporting from the beginning of space and time. It is not history. There was pre-existing matter in a state of watery chaos, just as so many other creation myths state, like those of the Sumerians, the Egyptians, and the Greeks. The unfolding of creation is about God separating things. The only thing that appears to be created ex nihilo would be light. Let there be light. Creation is about distinctions, separating the waters, separating between light and darkness. Creation is separating a thing from the rest and giving it a name. And friends, what may be among the most significant creations or distinctions on that first day was time itself. The light he called day and the dark he called night. And so from light and time came that which would have tremendous effects on the rest of the Bible and even now, because this was the creation of sacred time and sacred space. This parsha for Benny is the parsha. It has the twin tales of creation, the story of Eden, the fruit of the tree of knowledge, the serpent's enticement of Eve, the expulsion from paradise, the story of Cain and Abel, the often glossed over reference to the angels, the daughters of man, and the giants, God's statement that he regrets creating man, and it ends with the coming of Noah. Each of these items could be studies in themselves, and most are. Join me once again, friends, as we explore and study and learn together from this magnificent book. And please feel free to send any questions you have to our new webpage, www.rabbidavit.com, RABBIDAVIT, where we will be posting the weekly Torah commentaries and where our interactive blog will address some of the questions you submit. Man gave names to all the animals in the beginning. In the beginning. Man gave names to all the animals in the beginning, long time ago. Saw an animal as smooth as glass, slithering his way through the grass. Saw him disappear by a tree near a lake. Shabbat Shalom.